So we're here at the Concor Elegance in Atlanta, Georgia, in the good old USA. I have been asked to judge the Magnificent Seven event. And the Bugatti Aerolithe has been invited here as a special guest to appear on the lawn at the Concor this weekend. But when Brad arrived from San Diego with the car in the trailer, tried to unload it, there was one problem after another. Then the starter motor blew up.
So I'm gonna try and get it fired up. Okay, choke is open.
So they've been messing around trying to get the starter motor back in its cradle and working properly.
Go ahead.
But it's center field today, so we'll see how that works out.
Come on. It's not gonna go.
It should have been driving in a few minutes ago, so no stress there. The recreation of the Bugatti Aerolithe was one of the biggest projects we've ever done at the Guild. The original car was done in 1936, and it was only in existence for about 10 months before it disappeared off the face of the earth. It took us about 7 years to recreate this car. We had an original Type 57 chassis and driveline, and 11 original photographs. That was it. But, you know, the coach work has really made the car. And now it's become internationally famous and renowned. I mean, it won Most Elegant Award at the Concor on Rodeo Drive. And I did a piece at Jay Leno's garage where we drove it in LA traffic. That was interesting. And we took it to Monterey. It was at the Monterey Jetport at the McCall cocktail party. You know, it gets around more than I do. Now, if it would just arrive here.
Come on, baby. Making a lot of grumbly sounds when I push that clutch in it. Oh.
Here it comes, yes.
It's running. Brad's just driving the Bugatti in. He missed the entrance. And so he just disappeared in the distance, which is appropriate. So he just wandered off. I guess you weren't jumping and bouncing enough. The Bugatti got here from the trailer without running out of gas. That's a plus. You know, anytime we appear with this car, it draws an amazing amount of attention. You know, and I think it's the color and the shape and everything. It's just not quite like an ordinary car. Not too many people just walk by and ignore it. Even children sort of see it. Hey, Brad, can you come over and just support door? We had to support the door because the doors are very heavy and the hinges are very old. There was two young chaps who saw the car and you could see they just had fallen in love with it. I thought, well, you know what? Let's give them something that they will actually remember. So you're sitting where Jay Leno was sitting a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Because I know that kind of thing happened to me when I was a kid. Go on in. Cars were not made to be that comfortable. They were just made to look good. People are flabbergasted by the amount of effort that went into building. And it did take 7 years, but we did it all by hand. And I think that's a rare thing in this day and age. And I'm sort of proud of that. These show cars were made to be jewels. They were the highest expression of art in the 1930s. And this was the highest expression of Bugatti's art.
Oh, wow.
This is all done by hand.
Wow.
And this was the way things were done in the 20s and 30s. And it's not how we do things anymore. And that's a shame. Yeah. So, guys, in about 5 or 6 or 7 years, you want to come work for me?
Well, the pay seems nice. It's
Oh, yeah, he's the smart one.
Oh, you have $100 million cars here. So. Yeah.
Well, the Bugatti arrived in time for the Concor, but, you know, a bigger test may be later on today. Ken Gross is a world-renowned automotive journalist, Concor judge, and automotive historian. He's taken her for a drive for a story that he's doing. I'm really hoping it starts.
The owner brought this Confederate to the Guild about a month ago.
They're not a powerhouse, they're not a muscle car, but the 30s and 40s cars, it's where everything started.
The 1932 Confederate was Chevy's answer to the Depression. By manufacturing an inexpensive car that people could afford, they went to #1 sales over Ford. So this is one of those survivor cars that helped sustain Chevy right through the Depression.
How are you doing?
Hey,
Steven?
Greg.
Good to see you. So
here's the 32. It's in pretty great shape, really. So Stephen brought in his Chevy. He's a retired mechanic.
About 3 years ago, she just quit right in the driveway, and I've been working on her since, but I haven't got her to start. So I've had the carburetor rebuilt and the fuel pump rebuilt.
Yeah, it's held up really well. You guys taking good care of it, that's for sure.
Could be something major I'm missing, or it could be something very simple. And a little bit frustrated working on her, so I thought I'd ask these guys for some help.
He's done, looks like all the right things, so we're gonna go through it and find out what's really happening. And your grandfather bought this?
Grandfather bought it as a used car in 1934.
Wow, keeping it that long?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He bought it in Toronto. It was his day-to-day car. Though in those days, a car was something you just took a Sunday trip in. It was passed down to my uncle and passed down to me.
This is something here, too.
That's the original warranty, 90 days.
That's something else. And we whine about, 3-year, 4-year, we want a 5-year warranty now. Here's 90 days.
Yeah.
Have at it.
I like the memories of it. Most of Stephen's family is no longer with us, and he sits in that car and he's with his people.
She had a partial restoration in '68 with body and paint and glass, but she's still original mechanically. It was in a garage at my uncle's house, and it was hit by lightning in 1968. The outside of the garage was on fire, so it just roasted the car. As a matter of fact, the rear window melted and ran down the back of the car like glazing. So I got new paint, new glass, new upholstery in those days.
The fact that the car still looks this good, it's been babied, it's been pampered, and it's been taken care of. So it's a great car to come in. We're gonna look at it. We're gonna get back on the road for them soon.
Ken Gross is an expert on Bugattis, and he's doing an article on the Aerolithe.
The Bugatti Aerolithe, it's named after a meteor. That's what Aerolithe means in French. So even Bugatti had an idea that this was something that was extraterrestrial. It was not from planet Earth.
So Ken's going to take it out for a drive with Brad. Makes him one of the very few people who've ever driven the car. I mean, hell, I haven't even driven it.
It's a bear to steer. It has no turning radius whatsoever.
The Aerolithe is not the easiest car to drive at the best of times, and today is proving to be definitely not the best of times.
All right, so neutral.
Neutral.
What do people need to know before they drive the Bugatti? I could write a book on what you need to know.
It's busy, you got a lot of heavy clutch.
Ready? Yeah.
Oh, so I was helping Ken shift because he seemed to be really hanging on to the wheel.
See, I'm pushing that forward about a ½ inch, and that's when it dies.
We'll just leave the choke out. Okay, clutch.
Yep, got it.
Oh, all right, Bugatti clutch. Yeah, it's a handful.
This particular car, it's interesting and challenging to drive.
There's no ventilation. It doesn't brake very well. It doesn't turn very well. Let's get her up on 2 wheels. Woohoo! And it's kind of fussy to shift.
But I will say this, the motor has got that wonderful straight 8 sound, and there's definitely some power. It feels surprisingly quick. I mean, it's only 3.3 liters, but it doesn't weigh much.
Until you have to push it, then you find out how much it weighs.
It's 13 horsepower.
Oh my gosh, my sewing machine's larger.
If you picture this car on the road in 1935, there's nothing like it. This car was designed for one single purpose. Jean Bugatti's statement with the Type 57 chassis that said, we're building a very exciting car. If you picture it on the road in 1934-35, there's nothing like it. And when they showed it at the London Motor Show and the Paris Salon, it was the hit of the show. And when you look at pictures, you see these square, angular, old-looking cars surrounding it. And this car, with its sleek lines, just stands out fabulously. In this era, they didn't really understand streamlining, but they understood the face of a car. The horseshoe grille of a Bugatti or a Mercedes grille or a Rolls-Royce grille was what identified the car. So the streamlining happened from the windshield back. And that's the way this car is. Pure Bugatti in front, but it's curvaceous, it's sleek. It just all comes to a point well behind the car. It's gorgeous.
Ken did excellent driving today.
You're too kind. Thank you very much, Brad.
No problem.
So we're at the Concor Elegance in Atlanta, and my job is to judge the Magnificent Seven. And that's a group of roaded cars that are specially selected to appear on the lawn at the Concor.
Look at this.
You know, this isn't about how perfect the cars are. It's about cars that are usable, are maybe a little unusual, and really do deserve a place on the grounds of the Concor.
I think this is definitely on my list.
You know, these guys are driving up in cars with no expectations and may suddenly be awarded the ticket to the chocolate factory.
Want to talk about your car?
Janice is along with me.
Look at this door handle. Come on. I would buy the car just to have that.
And we're going to pick out the 7 ones we like the best.
Hey, we picked out a dozen cars, and we have to narrow this down to 7.
Harry Cricks is the co-chair of the Atlanta Concor, and he's escorting the other judges and myself whilst we look at the cars of the Magnificent 7. Wyatt Misselli is a student at McPherson College in Kansas in the Automotive Restoration Program. And Rick Green is an executive from Pompano, Florida, and he's a car aficionado.
David, Rick, Wyatt, and Janice. She'll be the tiebreaker. She'll be the tiebreaker.
All right.
All right, let's talk about it. The pickup truck.
Yay! That truck's in for me.
Okay, I think it's in.
Tell us a story about this car.
42 Chevrolet
Better
truck.
keep the man.
Just a little resto mod. Done a few little body changes. Stretched the cab just a touch. Give you a little bit more room inside. Creature comforts, satellite navigation, backup cameras, and a good driver. There's 7,000 miles on the vehicle right now. This is the first time it's ever really been to a show.
Is that right? How long did it take you?
We've worked on this car probably 10 months.
I have to admit, I really enjoy resto mods, and that's what makes judging this category fun.
So what's under the hood?
You're looking about 300 horsepower, 4L60 transmission, Ford 9-inch rear end.
Wow.
Didn't need to go crazy since he wanted to be able to drive it every day.
The fun is between the seat and the steering wheel. That's where all the fun happens.
Exactly.
So the second one is, and I think everybody liked this, the AutoZam.
Well, thank you.
The 1992 Japanese AutoZam AZ1 is a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive sports car. It was created as a joint venture between Mazda and Suzuki. It was only manufactured for 3 years and is pretty rare these days.
It's not high tech.
I like to drive it on the track.
I'd like to try that.
Just to see what it can do. The owner fell in love with it after seeing it in a video game.
People only knew about this from like Gran Turismo because they never sold them outside of Japan. It is a 3-cylinder turbo, 660cc. It revs to 9,000 stock. It honestly is terrible on the road, and it is a wonderful track car.
Is that
yes.
The Fiat Topolino.
Oh, I love that little Fiat.
This is unique. Tell us about this car.
1939 Fiat 500A Topolino.
Yeah, please.
I'd love to
we
check
want to
it
see
out.
Oh my gosh, my sewing machine's larger.
It's 13 horsepower.
13 horsepower?
You used to see these things with massive V8 engines in them on the drag strips.
Right.
You know, the guy sat in the back and the engine and everything went in through the center. They weren't comfortable.
It's so adorable, I love it. So you've had it for how long?
I've only had it about 7 months.
The owner actually bought this car on eBay from the Azores.
That's good acquisition. And you can use it in the living room as an end table.
You're true.
And the story about it coming over from the Azores.
All 13 horses made it.
All right, the Blue Jag, the XK. This car came all the way from Bogota, Colombia.
Wow.
It was a real mold breaker, if you will, for the Jaguars of the time. That particular model of Jaguar is pretty rare in the fixed head coupe. Most of them were roadsters.
Coachwork is nice. The only thing I really see is that the front left and front right fenders are just a little bit mismatched. The right headlight's higher than the left, but that could have been right out of the factory.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You have the trained eye.
The Eldorado.
Wow. I love the fins on the Eldorado.
Yeah. I think one of the prettiest rear ends that Cadillac ever did. See, I always loved the taillights on these. A single light under the fin. Cadillac introduced the fin styling in the 1940s, and that's because one of their designers, Franklin Quick Hershey, had seen P-38 Lightnings, an American fighter during the war, and basically replicated the back of a P-38 on the back of a Cadillac. And those tail fins became a signature of Cadillac all through the 1950s. Were immensely popular with the public. And the front end, I think, is a little overdone, but then there's no such thing as a late 50s Caddy that's not overdone somewhere.
The green Pontiac, Silver Streak.
The Survivor.
The Survivor.
This is a Survivor.
Nice.
A Survivor refers to antique and classic cars that have never been refurbished or restored or repainted. In fact, they've only been subject to periodic maintenance since they were originally manufactured.
So we've had it about 20 years. Had 19,000 on the odometer when we got it. It's at about 21,000
And has
now.
been paint touch-ups or anything like that?
So it had a big dent in the roof when we got it. So that was painted and blended, but other than that, we think it's original.
Wow. I love Survivors. I mean, even if they're a bit tatty, because it gives you so much more information than a restored car, because you can never trust a restored car.
Yeah.
It's got the right smell for a Survivor.
Have to smell it.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. And the smell I know very, very well. Yeah. I've always liked the style of the back of these. You know?
And you can see our paint is not surviving.
Yeah, but you know what? It's surviving pretty well. You know, all the cars today stand out one way or another. It's going to be really difficult to narrow this down to just 7.
You guys should like this.
Nice.
It's okay in a warm summer day, but we want to do it in the wintertime.
We have to narrow this down to 7. It's going to be tough, but we're up for it. Let's review what we got thus far. We have the Blue Jag from Columbia.
Yeah, that's a pretty special car.
I love that. It's not a convertible.
Yes, in?
Yeah.
We have the Eldorado.
Of all of the 50s Cadillacs, that's my favorite, so yes for me.
We have the Topolino.
I'm torn on the Topolino.
Oh, no, the Topolino's not going anywhere.
Oh, that's a great.
You don't think? All right.
The Survivor, the green pine.
Yes, I like the original. The fact that they're being driven. And
Well, you know, they're only original once.
Ken Pickup.
Oh,
Yes. The way they designed it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that one had that glow. There's no
I agree.
doubt.
The red Buick Invicta.
I liked that car.
The sculpting in the side of that car, the exuberant tail fins, just a dramatic overstatement of design lines.
We have the AutoZam.
Oh, we like the AutoZam. The gull-wing doors on a little car that small.
I would actually like to substitute the AutoZam for the i8.
The i8?
Everybody knows I'm not a big fan of BMWs, but I mean, from a design standpoint and the fact that it's an electric vehicle, I think that's pointing to the future, and I think we all got to look in that direction.
Good point.
Good point.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like we've finally chosen the Magnificent Seven.
Certainly the Atlanta Concor Elegance, we appreciate your input. Thank you.
Tomorrow, the Magnificent Seven will be in their own class at the Concor, and just one of them is going to be certified as best in class. You know, as far as judging, I like to put all my personal preferences aside, so it'll be the Topolino. I mean...
So here we are. And you take the key.
I had a problem. She stalled in my driveway in 2015, and despite 3 summers of working on it, I haven't been able to get her to start, so I asked the Guild to help me out here, and they got it running now. Running sweet.
Very sweet. What we discovered with the Confederate was it had some ignition problems, points condenser, had a few fuel leaks, and it needed some carburetor service. The plugs that they put in, they weren't sealed properly. Got the new coil in there, paired a couple of wires, and just purrs like a kitten.
Kind of excited to get her back on the road.
Would have been nice for a drive home, wouldn't it?
We have had it to 60 miles per hour, but I wouldn't recommend it. They figure 35 miles an hour top speed. That was the highway speed in those days. And you could pretty much count on any long day of driving 1 or 2 punctures. You guys should like this.
We'll do the hand crank. Nice.
It's okay in a warm summer day, but we want to do it in the wintertime. As you see right now, I've slammed the door and it is quite locked. So we have a little cheater. Our original remote control.
And the fact that these people keep them and they've been in their family for so long, it is a little bittersweet when they have to go. That should be awesome. Enjoy yourself. And
thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing it in. It was awesome. Beautiful car.
And this is the winner in the Magnificent Seven.
Thank God the weather's finally cleared up, and just in time, because the cars from the Magnificent Seven have all rolled out on the Concor, and here they are. It's going to be really interesting to see which one wins.
Yesterday we picked 7 cars, the Magnificent Seven, and this is the winner in the Magnificent Seven, 1958 Cadillac Eldorado.
All right, Michael,
So the Cadillac Eldorado, beautiful car. Its style and design and the fit and finish of the restoration puts it on equal rank with all the cars here.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Car.
I was one of the people who chose the cars yesterday. Apparently, it was the car in class, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm a little surprised, actually.
No, you shouldn't be. Car was deserving. It's a tough thing to judge that because, I mean, there's so many disparate cars, but, you know, if I was going to spend a lot of time driving like Route 66, have to be this one. Did you restore it or have it restored, or?
So, this car, in 1994, my father bought this car, and we restored it. Fast forward 2008, he got sick, so I sold the car, and it actually went to Sweden, and Father had passed in 2013, so I bought the car back from Sweden.
Oh.
So I've had the car on and off, and it's been through 2 restorations with me.
Great story. That shows dogged perseverance. Going back to Sweden to buy something you sold. And did they see you coming? I would like to buy the car. Oh,
Yep, that's what happened.
Exactly. You know, this Concor is a little more laid back than something, say, like Pebble Beach. There's not the pomp and circumstance. It's just a friendlier, warmer sort of environment than a lot of the Concor events. There were some really superb cars, and I mean, the ones that should have won did win. A lot of my favorites from the grounds today were rolling across during the awards ceremony.
The best in show. The 1937 Packard 1507 of Stephen Platt.
And as far as events go, this is one of my favorites now.